why men always go for women, or always, like hungry dogs, always looking for getting the relationship, always poon, poon, poon this, poon that. Where's the purpose? Kaijus, what's up? It's your brother Kaiju Kong, aka 2K, emerging from the depths of sweet solitude to bring you some more Sigma, soul sustenance. Alright, so before I get into the main body of today's topic, I want to give a quick shout out to two brothers in particular, namely Charlie DT and Huinvu. Woohoo! Thank you, brothers, for the generous donations made to my PayPal account. Now, for those of you who got some value out of my videos, who got some new insight that could help you in your life, who even got a laugh, made your day brighter, and you want to give back as a gesture of gratitude, and you're wondering, how do I do this? Where's the link to it? Well, the link, my friends, is right here. So, of course, that's not a clickable link. The clickable link is in the description down below. So, thank you very much in advance for that. Let's get into today's video topic. So, today's video topic is brought to us by a brother named The Violator. And he said, I don't understand other Sigma channels promoting day game and dating. I'm happy discovering my Sigma personality with a deeply satisfying monogamous relationship. Yes, I could easily sleep with many other women, but frankly, I've got better things to be doing, like focusing on my legacy. My girlfriend is on tap because I display strong masculinity and enigma, and she's a soulmate when I need to vocalize my emotional side. I'm only human, after all. But I know that by getting on with life, if I separated from my girlfriend, another girlfriend opportunity would appear if I wanted it. So, why the emphasis by others to sleep with hundreds of women as their goal in life? Man, it's very simple. Now I'm gonna tackle, I have two questions. The first question is why there are Sigma male channels that promote day game and dating, and I kind of think I know which channels you're talking about, and why the emphasis, the over importance for most men out there to sleep with or to get with so many women in life. I'm going to answer the second question first, and hopefully by answering the second question, I can then link it and then answer the first question much easier. So the second question, why this over importance for guys to get with women? Over importance, excess, this is bad. Women, sex, dating, relationships for the right reasons and in moderation is good. If it were not written in our DNA and we don't want to go with a woman, humanity would not exist as a species. We would not have that desire to procreate, so to speak. But then that's the good reasons, right reasons, and in moderation. But what happens when what you see commonly now is that guys always want to get with women, always how to get this, how to get in a relationship with her, how do I get more women to like me? In my opinion, it all boils down to two influential factors. The first, and these influential factors will dictate how a man navigates his life and chooses his priorities. Therefore, because of this, this also dictates what type of impact the man has in the world and what type of mark or memory or legacy he leaves behind. Now, what do I mean by this? The first influential factor is the desire to matter, the desire to be relevant, to be significant, to be remembered, to be appreciated, to leave a legacy before you die, to, let's say, plant your flag into the world so that future generations down the line will recognize that at one certain point in history, you did exist. And not just exist like, no, exist powerfully and exist gloriously. Now, all men want to leave a legacy or want to leave a memory that is powerful, glorious, a good memory for future generations to remember them by. But not all men will attain that greatness. Why? Because it also takes into account the second influential factor. And the second influential factor is your ability of self-control. How in control and how dominant are you over your own impulses, over your own mind, your own body, your own emotions? Now, when you string them all together, this is how it looks like. How do you leave a legacy? Now, in my opinion, there are only two ways. Either you leave behind a kid that carries on your name, or you leave behind a creation, you bring something, you manifest a creation, a company, a brand, a product, a service, something that carries on your name, or it carries on your spirit, your beliefs, what you stand for in this world. At the end of the day, it's either you leave behind a kid. How do you have a kid? The kid doesn't just like boop, pop out of nowhere. No, the kid comes about through a woman. The woman, getting together with a woman, will give you that kid. So it's either the woman, lady, girl, aka Poon, or the company, the brand, the good, the service that you will create out of nothing, which is, let's say, the purpose. So it's either the Poon, purpose, purpose, Poon, Poon, purpose. Do you know their way? Do you know their way? What is their way? Fuck, what do I do? What do I do? A man goes through life wanting to leave a legacy, and he is met at the crossroads between Poon or purpose, and he has to decide where to go. Thing is, with the Poon, the difference between a Poon and a purpose is that the Poon, women, ladies, they're everywhere. You look, you go around, they're everywhere, my friends. They are right in front of our face. You go out into the city right now, within a minute you're going to stumble upon a woman. Within 5 minutes, you're going to stumble upon a woman who's your age, who you find attractive. Purpose is something that exists in the future. It has probably not yet even manifested itself yet. It takes work to manifest that purpose, to work at it, to create it, to think about it day and night, to hustle for it. Women, they're already there. Purpose, it takes work, and that's why on this road, Poon, it ends, it's like a wide road. At the end, you can see a gingerbread house. The road of the purpose, it's a very narrow road filled with brambles and thorns and bushes, and you have to constantly hack at it with a machete, if you even have a machete, or just brave through. It's gonna hurt, and all men would rather go for that big wide road that leads to the gingerbread house, that's the road of the Poon, than the road of the purpose, and that's tough. And that's why a lot of men would rather choose to leave behind a legacy through leaving behind a kid than to leave behind a legacy by actually creating something. Now think about it this way. Here's another metaphor. Life is like a city. And all of us who live this life, we are like passerbys who go through the city on the way out. Now people want to leave their mark on the city. How do you leave a mark in the city? You can either be the artist or you can be the vandal. Most guys, most bastards, I know you probably were the same if you're the rebellious type, at least I was. Me and my friends, we used to, with straws, we take tissue paper from the toilets, chew off a little bit of the tissue, mix it with our saliva, roll it into a little ball, and with the straw we go, and then shoot it at like statues around the school. So the teachers already caught wind of our actions, and when we saw like the patron saint of our school had started accumulating, what do you call it? Started accumulating all those tissue balls on his face. So yeah, it's either you're the artist or you're the vandal. Now what do I mean by this? Most of us will be the vandals. Most guys will be the vandals. They will leave their mark off of existing items in the fact they're kind of reducing the value of that item. What I mean by this, many of you will prefer to go through the city and just like leave on the toilet stall. Bob was here, David was here with a pencil pen, or go on a wall and go draw a giant dick, or draw a giant I was here. That's the vandal. Now the artist is someone different. It is harder to leave your mark in the world as an artist. Why? Because you technically have to create it out of nothing. You have to put something together that is totally unique, totally new, something that is not based off of another creation. You don't put it onto another creation like a wall or anything. You have to take a blank canvas, something that's blank, and then put into it your effort. And that's the difference between an artist and the vandal. Now probably you're wondering, how does this vandal thing, how do they relate with women? Well, technically when you get with a woman and you kind of destroy her value. So technically, yes, you are a vandal. You create something which is supposedly the kid, which is the right reason why you're getting with a girl biologically anyway. To create the kid, you have to destroy the item. Most men will leave their mark in that city, in life, before they leave. That's the way that they'll leave their mark, something that's easy to be done. Not everyone will go the way of the artist and create something out of nothing. Now this kind of segues into, I want to add how a Sigma male kind of sees relationships and sees women, and why he prefers either to get into just a monogamous, long-lasting relationship, or he can either be totally detached from women, which I believe is the case when you really start to develop yourself as a Sigma male. Now, why is this? Let me tell you a story that like a little parable that I came up with. So let me tell you the story of the three men. And the three men represented the archetypes. There's the alpha male, Alfred, beta male, Bob, and Sigma male, Steve. And each of these three men were stranded in the ocean, stranded on their own island, each with their individual island. And each island came with its own tree. And this tree grew its own fruit. It looked like a peach. Let's call this the Poon fruit. The thing is with this tree, the Poon fruit on the lower hanging Poon fruit were not as sweet or not as tasty as the Poon fruit that grew on the top of the tree. So the higher up you go up the tree, the sweeter and more delicious the fruit. The only way of surviving, of course, on this island was to eat the fruit, and the fruit represented Poon. Now here, as the story develops, you can see how each man navigates his life based on his own ability to control himself, or his self-mastery. Now let's start with Beta Male Bob. Beta Male Bob, he saw the tree, he saw the fruits, and he took the lower hanging fruit and he ate it. And he ate it and he ate it, that's all he did. He just took the low hanging fruit. Every now and then when the wind blows, one of the fruits on the higher branches will fall by accident. And he grabs that Poon fruit and eats it, and he realizes, like, wait a minute, the Poon fruit that falls from the top of the tree seems to be tastier than these lower hanging fruit. In other words, the Poon fruit on the lower hanging branches are those low value women, and the Poon fruit that lies on the higher branches are the higher value women. What does Bob do, the beta male? He survives out of eating the lower hanging fruit, but he just waits for the lucky opportunity for the wind to blow somewhat for him to end up with the high value fruit, the high value Poon fruit. The thing is, the reason why the Poon fruit fell was because it was reaching its maturity. Therefore, once he has that Poon fruit, he can only have it for so long. It does not last as long as the lower hanging fruit that he actually has to pluck out, if you know what I mean. So, like with relationships, he seems to be doing better with low value women than the high value women. High value women, he may get them from time to time, but they never last as long as the other relationships for this beta male Bob. Let's go to alpha male Alfred. Alpha male Alfred does the same. He takes from the low hanging fruit and he eats it. Low hanging fruit eats it. And then every now and then the wind blows and the high value Poon fruit falls and he eats it, and he realizes, like, hey, same as Bob, I noticed that the high hanging fruit on the top seems to taste better than the lower hanging fruit. I want to get more of that high value fruit. He is ambitious. So what does Alfred do? He probably gets like a branch that has fallen and smashes knocks off the lower hanging branches from the tree. He takes these branches and he fashions a ladder out of these branches in order to reach. He leans it against the tree and reaches for the higher hanging fruit. Now what does this represent? The lower hanging branches that he knocks off. He doesn't go for 5s, he doesn't go for 6s, probably he doesn't go for 7s anymore. He took away those branches entirely, does not even look at them. He sacrificed going after those low value women in order to build a ladder to only eat from the top branches and to eat only from the 9s or 10 Poon fruit. His purpose was not just to pick out the Poon fruit. His purpose was also to build that ladder. That was to build that ladder in order to reach for the higher Poon fruit. That was his purpose. Now, let's see what Sigma male Steve did and how his purpose was entirely different from alpha male Alfred's. Sigma male Steve started out like everybody else, like Bob and Alfred. He started out eating from the low value Poon fruit. And eventually the wind blows and the high value Poon fruit from the top falls and he eats from it and realizes the same thing. Wow, those ones in that higher end are much tastier than the lower end. Whenever these guys, they eat the fruit and then they bite into the seed or the bitter part, they realize, the pleasure has ended. It's time to separate with this fruit. Alpha male Alfred and beta male Bob, they would throw that seed into the water. They would throw it away. Of course, they don't want the land around them to be filled with mess. So they just threw it into the water. Burnt the bridges. It's like in relationships, they burnt their bridges, they forgot about them, they blocked the contact, and then that's it. Sigma male Steve was different. When he bit into the bitter part of the Poon fruit, he realized, it's all into the end. It's all come to an end. But instead of throwing away that negative part, he used the negativity and he planted it into the earth, into the island that housed him. You use that depression, you use that negative energy deep within to work on your own purpose. Therefore, he planted that negative energy, and that negative energy grew into another Poon tree. And then maybe another seed grew into another Poon tree. And what happens when the Poon tree matures? That became his purpose. His purpose became to grow these trees, to take care of these trees, to nurture them. And what happens when you get on your purpose without you knowing, without you being aware of it? The tree grew, the tree matured, and then all of a sudden it grew its own Poon fruit. Sigma male Steve, he was on his purpose, and he has all of these trees going around him, so much Poon fruit that he realizes being on his purpose brings you the Poon fruit as well, in spades, in abundance. And what happens when you have so much Poon fruit? Unlike alpha male Alfred and beta male Bob, once a Poon fruit grows, there's going to be a certain amount of time when you don't have the fruit because you ate already too much of it. When the Poon fruit grows again, they're hungry. They're like, there it is again, let's eat it. They eat it. Especially with alpha male Alfred. He probably got rid of all the lower end branches, so he only waits for that high value Poon fruit to grow back again. Beta male Bob's the same. He either waits for the low value fruit to grow again to eat it, or he waits for the wind to blow and the high value women that he cannot actually reach and approach to fall, and he just waits to get lucky. Sigma male Steve is different. Even if he eats to his fill on one tree and he's full already, the other tree still has a lot of Poon fruit left. Therefore, he gets tired of the Poon fruit, and he gets tired at an early age. So what does he do? He gets detached from the need for this Poon fruit. And so instead, he sits down on the edges, on the banks of the shore, and casts his sights on the horizon. And he tells himself, wait a minute, why am I stranded on this island? I can make an escape. How do I make my escape? He looks back at his Poon tree, at the Poon trees that he has grown on his purpose. Over time, he fashions an axe, and out of that axe, he chops down one tree, chops down the other tree, and leaves one tree for his sustenance. He fashions a boat out of those two Poon trees that he cut down, and then he made his escape. He was no longer stranded. He became a wanderer, an explorer, a venturer of lands, the explorer of horizons. He was truly detached and not a puppet to the Poon. Everyone wants to attain a glorious, powerful memory or legacy. But the glorious, powerful legacy only lies with those who achieve the purpose. Why? Because everyone, 90, 80% will go with the easier purpose. They may have tried to go with the purpose, may have tried to go with creating something, manifesting something, but they were too weak, they were too lazy, they were not smart enough, they gave up too easily. Therefore, they resort to they're like, okay, fine, I gave up. Okay, fine. Life beats them down to their core, and then they give up. They go instead with saying, okay, instead, let me do the last resort, leave my legacy through a kid. And to that kid, I'm gonna, even guys who leave a kid on the world, they're not leaving the legacy because they don't even take care of the kid. They don't even bring him up properly. They're not even around to teach him the ropes. So what type of legacy are they leaving behind? These kids are left alone to figure life out for themselves. It's kind of sad actually that you want to leave a legacy and yet you're not leaving a proper legacy. So you're still screwing yourself over, my friends. At least most of the guys, not you who are listening to this. So that's why. Instead of leaving a legacy, they just resort to feeling appreciated or feeling like they matter. It's about themselves now at the end of the day. Now with this answer, I will go and answer your first question. First question is, why are there Sigma male channels that exist catering to dating and day game? Is because I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they are Sigma males. And Sigma males, we're intelligent. We look at society from the boundaries, from a bird's eye view. And when you look at society from a bird's eye view, you're better able to see the patterns and the things that go on, how men think. And how most men think, as I just explained, majority of men are looking to create a legacy through women. They want to do it through women. Therefore, YouTube is a business. You earn money through YouTube as well, through the ads, through memberships, through whatever, And business runs on recognizing a supply, recognizing the demand and having the supply to meet that demand. Therefore, these Sigma male channels know that there's a demand for understanding women, for understanding relationships, and less supply in having to create a purpose, creating your own identity, creating something with nothing, because most men will go for the easier, lower hanging fruit. So these Sigma male guys, they are smart In order to make more money, in order to have more subscribers, they will tailor their content to meet the larger demand and make more money. Now, I could do the same as well. These guys are good. Kudos to them. I'm not saying anything bad about them. But I am different. I don't want to just make money out of something that's popular. I want to make money for those. Because I don't see any channels talking about how to create a purpose, how to create your own identity, how to motivate yourself to do more in life for Sigma males. So that the limited market, this limited demand that nobody seems to be meeting, that is the demand that I'm meeting. And even if it's few, we are the powerful few. Because according to the Pareto principle 2080, you can see it in the same thing, 20% of the population comes up and produces 80% of the world's world's value. Therefore, if I focus on that 20%, if I focus on the few people who actually do have the power to make a change in this world, 80% in the long run of the value that, or the things that happen in this world will be due to these 20% that I impact. So I'm hoping that you listening to this, you are part of the powerful few, and listening to this hopefully gave you some insight on why you run this way, why you navigate this way, and to encourage you to continue to be detached from the mainstream way of thinking, to be detached from why men always go for women, or like hungry dogs, always looking for getting the relationship, always poon, this, poon that. Where's the purpose? Everyone goes down the road of the poon. Only a few go down the road of the purpose. But the road of the purpose is more fulfilling and leaves you with a memory or a legacy of power and glory. So I hope this helped you guys out. That's it. If you like this, like. If you want to comment. I want to know what you guys think about this. And do subscribe if you haven't already. This is the channel for the lone wolves, the tigers, and the Sigma males. We want to create lasting change as a powerful movers in society, and I will help you get through this. I will help you to motivate, to inspire, and to provide new insight, new knowledge, new wisdom throughout your lives, throughout your journey. So this is Kaiju Kong signing off. Thank you very much for joining me, my friends. Till next time, stay strong and take care.